1 week out from their title match in Toronto, which is coming up on SmackDown next Friday, we got a face-to-face between CM Punk and Kevin Owens, and it was better than the one that we had between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes leading into SummerSlam. You know, I remember talking about that here in the SmackDown review and how I was looking forward to that first face-to-face with Cody and Punk, and I was just very disappointed. It was very flat. We didn't have that issue tonight with Punk and KO. That was one of the highlights of the show. The main event was supposed to be Cody Rhodes one-on-one against Sami Zayn. That did not happen when Randy Orton got involved, and then they proceeded to run back virtually the same exact angle they did on the road to WrestleMania this year, just with a little bit of a twist on it. So we had a little bit of a chaotic ending there to end the show. Nothing terribly original when they went off the air tonight. Chelsea Green. She is the WWE Women's Champion. No mention of the word interim last week. No mention of the word interim tonight. So I think we can officially call her the Women's Champion. The question is, would we be able to still call her that by the time we got to SmackDown tonight? Because she suffered an injury last week, and there was a lot of question about the severity of it. Were they going to strip her of the belt? Were they going to keep the belt on her? We got our answer tonight. And the storyline that they did, what they did at the beginning of the show, I really, really liked. One of the highlights of the night tonight. So she is still the Women's Champion for now. That's the little asterisk next to it, for now. And we had not one but two title changes on this show. We actually had 3 title matches on this show. Both United States Championships were defended, and the WWE Tag Team titles were on the line as well. 2 of those 3 championships changed hands. We have a brand new Women's United States Champion, and we have brand new tag team champions, which should not be a surprise to anybody. Once you saw Haku brought in as the manager for the MFTs, that should have told you right there that the belts were coming home to the MFTs. And it only took a few weeks, but that's exactly what happened here on this show. I will say I enjoyed the episode tonight more than the average SmackDown, even though we got very little in the way of actual good wrestling on this show. That was the big thing that was missing. Corbin and Melo, they had a U.S. title match. That would be the de facto best match on the show. And even that wasn't anything terribly special. So we didn't get any special, matches on this show. But again, it was newsworthy in that we had a couple of title changes. We had a couple of other things going on that I enjoyed. And so between the opening segment and the KO and Punk stuff, by and large, I enjoyed this. Like I said, better than your average episode of SmackDown. We're not going to declare that SmackDown has turned things around. This is not the beginning of a trend. We need this to happen a few more times, but better than the average fare that we get on Friday nights. Let's talk about it. This is your SmackDown review. It is Friday night, August 14, 2026. I am the Solomonster. Thank you for being with me tonight. Closing out your week with yours truly. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Super chats are open. I know we've had a whole bunch that have come in so far. I will be reading your messages here in just a little bit. Take the wheel for a spin, see if we can possibly, perhaps, do our Be the Booker segment a little bit later on here in the stream. We got a bonus goal going as well. If you want to drop a super chat, it'll go towards that. But let's spin the wheel now and see what we land on. We landed on 515. So 515 likes, that is the goal. So saith the wheel. If we hit that, we are guaranteed to do B2B a little bit later on here in the stream. Get those thumbs ready. Yes, spin the bottle, says Venom Katetsu. The bottle has landed. So 515 is the goal. Let's get into this here because this right here was what ended up being, honestly, you know what? This probably was the best segment on the show. It was certainly one of the top 2. But we opened the show tonight. Nick Aldis, the SmackDown general manager, was already standing in the ring. And he was in the ring to address the Women's Championship situation. Now, for those of you who do not know, and I don't know why you wouldn't know because you were probably watching the show last week. If you didn't watch the show, then you were probably listening to the sound off. And if you didn't do any of those things, then shame on you. Last week, Chelsea Green had her championship celebration. Tiffany Stratton came out. Fatal Influence came out. This all led to a tag team match. It was Chelsea and Tiffany against Fatal Influence. In the course of that match, Chelsea got hurt. She had her orbital bone broken. Now, I believe it happened on the finish when Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley delivered their Fatal Flaw finish because it looked very wonky and very dangerous. They credited Jayne with the injury because right before that, from the floor outside, she delivered the rolling encore. Going back and watching it, I don't think that's where it happened. I think they're just trying to give her credit for it. But it doesn't matter. She was hurt. It was a legitimate injury. And it sucks because, it always sucks to get hurt. But if you're Chelsea Green and you just had the biggest moment of your career, you won this big ladder match at SummerSlam that wasn't even supposed to happen. It only happened because the champion was hurt. She was entered into the match. She got to pull down the championship. Chelsea Green is the women's champion for the first time in her career. And then her very first show, coming out of SummerSlam, not even 1 week later, she gets her face broken. And it's like she said in her promo tonight, and I think she said it in the social media video that she put out earlier in the week, if she didn't have bad luck, she wouldn't have any luck at all. It's just one thing after another. So here we are now. Nick Aldis has a decision to make. Is he going to strip her of the championship? Wouldn't make a whole lot of sense if she didn't need surgery because, as we've seen with other champions, if the champion is not going to be able to defend her title for a relatively short period of time, then that shouldn't be an impedance to her holding on to the title. Anyway, he's in the ring, and he said after speaking to WWE Medical, Chelsea Green, would you please come on down to the ring? And he introduced the women's champion who came out with a black eye. Aldis told her that he knows how hard she's worked and how much that moment meant to her at SummerSlam, but he cannot in good conscience allow her to compete with a broken eye socket. To Chelsea, before he could actually make any sort of proclamation here, she said, look, I'm begging you. Don't do what I think you're about to do, right? She's trying to talk him out of it. He hasn't even announced it yet. But she could see where this is going. And Aldis says, this is the part of the job that I hate the most. But I need you to relinquish your WWE Women's Championship. And the crowd booed. Now, I should point out, in coming out to the ring, and as we got a little bit deeper into this promo here, these people were going nuts for Chelsea Green. They were loud for her, honestly louder than almost anything else on the show, because this crowd in Boston tonight was actually pretty tame and pretty quiet during some of the other segments on this show. But they were loud for Chelsea. They were chanting her name. They were chanting, "You deserve it." And so Chelsea at this point says, I knew it was too good to be true. She was just waiting for the other shoe to drop because every accomplishment in her career has been followed by some sort of tragedy. She talked about all the obstacles and embarrassing moments that she's had to overcome over the years in WWE, from throwing herself into dumpsters and breaking bones and having pies put in her face and all kinds of stuff. And every night she went to bed, she knew that it was worth it for the moment of one day becoming the WWE Women's Champion. And she made it. And the crowd cheers. And she compared her situation to Aldis's at SummerSlam and how they both had, proven that it didn't matter what they thought of them. What mattered was what we think of ourselves. She said, as far as she's concerned, the title is hers until someone takes it from her. So she said that, Nick, you were a champion. Your wife was a champion. And you got to share that beautiful moment in the ring together at SummerSlam. If anybody could understand what she was going through, it was Nick Aldis. But he had already made the announcement of what he wanted. She took the belt off from around her waist. She handed the championship over to him. The people booed. Aldis sees her halfway down the aisle. He says, Chelsea, wait. He said, as the general manager, I believe I'm doing the right thing. But as a man, I don't give a damn what medical thinks. He says, I'm going to give you 30 days to do what you need to do to get yourself cleared. Go get a mask. Do whatever you need to do. But until such time, you will remain the WWE Women's Champion. And she took back the championship and everybody cheered. Everybody was all happy. Then we hear, now of all the music I would have been expecting to hear at this moment, the music I was not expecting was Gunther's. So Gunther comes down to the ring. So now we have Nick Aldis, we have Gunther, and we have Chelsea Green all in the ring together. He tells Aldis, Nick, it's time that we get to more important business that people actually care about. And he demanded that Aldis tell him, why did you insert Kevin Owens into my match at SummerSlam? And Aldis told him, first of all, conducting other business here, but you have it all wrong. I didn't insert you, I didn't insert Kevin Owens into your match. I inserted you into Kevin Owens' match because the negotiations with Owens and for his return, that was going on for months leading up to SummerSlam. And he goes, "It's not my fault that you didn't get the job done." So Chelsea piped up. She said, "Oh, that was a good one." And Gunther told Chelsea to shut up. She asked, "Oh, did I hurt your fragile little male ego? Because that's all you have left." As I look around this ring, the only person with a championship, the only person who is a champion in this ring right now is me. So Gunther got up at her face. This prompted Matt Cardona to run down. He got into the ring to come to his wife's defense. And Gunther is just looking at him, and Gunther is laughing. And he said, "Look at that, all the way from catering to the rescue." And the crowd may not have reacted to much tonight, but they did laugh at that line. He goes, "Let's be honest. What are you going to do to me?" Said, "I could call your girl every slur in the world right in front of you, and there is nothing that you could do to me." And Chelsea is trying to back her man down and saying, "It's not worth it. Just leave. Get out of here." And that prompted Gunther, as it looked like they were leaving, and Chelsea got out of the ring first, it prompted Gunther to say, "Every good dog listens to its owner." So Cardona turned around. That was a line that, you don't cross. And so he attacked Gunther. He knocked him down. Gunther rolled out to the floor. I thought that this was a great opening segment. This was very different from your typical opening here on SmackDown. It just sucks that it came about due to an injury. But in the segment, they turned Chelsea Green into the biggest babyface in that division. One of the biggest baby faces on the entire show. Like I said, the crowd in Boston, they were behind her 100%. And, it's got to be music to your ears if you're Chelsea Green, because that fan response, right, is exactly what she needs. That's exactly what, if you're Chelsea Green, that's exactly what you want the people in the back to hear. Like, hey, see? They believe. They bought into it. They're behind me. You've got to keep that rolling. You've got to take advantage of that. You just, stick with me here, right? That's what she's got to be thinking right now. So it was just the perfect time for her to get that kind of reaction. And it shows them, you would hope in their mind that, she could succeed in that role as the top babyface, at least until Rhea comes back. But Rhea's not going to be around for months, the top babyface in that women's division. And I would also say that it clearly is a good sign that they are giving her 30 days to get cleared. At least that's the storyline. Because if she was going to need surgery and it was more serious than we were led to believe, they wouldn't be doing this angle. Like him taking the championship from her, that would have been a real thing. And that would have been the end of her run. So I take it as a positive sign that they didn't get any sort of negative, progress report. Maybe they legitimately are just going to monitor her injury for a few weeks and then make a determination at that point. But that's not how this came across. Yeah, the entire way they did this angle, it struck me as, okay, we got a sense of how long she'll be out for. We don't have to take the belt off her, so let's come up with this story. We'll give her 30 days. We'll build drama right as the countdown every single week that goes by. Is Chelsea going to be able to get cleared in time? And then she'll wear a mask and everything should be okay. That's the sense that I got from it. But again, there's no reason to take the title off of her unless she needs surgery. If she needs surgery, she's going to be out for an extended period of time. And in that case, there's not a whole lot you can do. Otherwise, there is zero reason to take that championship off of her. Especially when they didn't do that for Rhea Ripley. Now, of course, the fact that they're even putting a 30-day countdown clock on her, or any sort of deadline, like a 30-day deadline on her in storyline, is completely preposterous, given the fact that we have had not one but two women's champions in recent months. Really going back to the end of last year, the beginning of this year. And then more recently with Liv Morgan, we've had two different women's champions on two different shows that have gone in excess of 100 days without a single title defense. So like the fact that, well, you got to get cleared in 30 days, not 31 days, not 60 days. You got to get cleared in 30 or else I'm going to have no choice but to take the belt off of you, right? Bullshit. The whole thing is complete bullshit. But then again, There's a lot of bullshit that happens that doesn't make any sense on these shows. So why should this be any different? Gunther, I thought, was just a tremendous douchebag here in this segment. I wish he had a clearer direction. I mean, I guess he kind of does based on what they did with him later in the show. But I thought he played his part perfectly here in this segment. And as far as Cardona goes, it led to exactly what you would imagine it would. Because after a commercial break, it was Gunther one-on-one in an impromptu match against Matt Cardona. Both men competed here in street clothes. Gunther, hold on a second. So Ben says, just announced Blake versus Julia. Did they announce it? I didn't hear them mentioned at all on this show. Come to think of it, yeah, there was nothing with Blake Monroe on this show at all. No vignette, nothing backstage. And we're not getting Brie mode for a while either. She's on the shelf for 6 months. Hey, Venom Kitetsu, thank you for that $25 Brie mode. Thank you, brother. Where is Miz and Kit? Apparently in storyline, I guess they died from their injuries. May they rest in peace.
The Fresh Maker.
Misfit Wrestling Podcast with the $30 Mentos the Fresh Maker super chat. That's what I love to hear. They announced it on Twitter. Oh, you mean X? Wait, did they announce that for next week? What? So they didn't announce it on the show. It's a Twitter exclusive. They may as well put the match on Twitter as a Twitter exclusive. Why don't they just go the full Monty and just put it on Twitter? It's ridiculous. So important they couldn't announce it on the actual television show. Amazing. So Gunther, again, they're wrestling in street clothes here in this match. Gunther wrestling in street clothes is very weird. He powerbombed Cardona onto the announce desk outside, then onto the apron. Gunther was ready to take the count-out win. Cardona slid back in just in time. Gunther dropped him with a lariat, and then he's mocking Chelsea because Chelsea is out there in her husband's corner. And he's looking out at her. Look at your husband. He's mocking her. He delivered a back Saito suplex, dropped Cardona right on the back of his head. He again mocked Chelsea. This time she got up on the apron. And behind the referee's back, Cardona, as Gunther turns around, Cardona kicks him right in the dick. And then he hits a Rough Rider. And everybody in the crowd is buying into the possibility that this could be the end here. And so he drops him with the Rough Rider and he covers him. Only gets a close near fall out of it. Cardona, he goes for another one, but Gunther catches him into a powerbomb position. He slams him, picks him up, hits another powerbomb, and then he transitions into a Boston Crab. And immediately, I mean, he didn't waste any time at all. Immediately, Cardona begins to tap out, and that is it. A Boston Crab in Boston, the perfect finish here for this match. After the match, Nia Jax and Lash Legend, they come out. Nia called Chelsea pathetic for being injured after winning the championship. She said those 30 days were ticking down and she wanted a shot at the women's title. So they were both threatening Chelsea. They were inching closer to her. Here comes Tiffany Stratton out for the save, but they ended up putting Tiffany down and they hurt her. This is right before Tiffany's title defense later in the show against Jacy Jayne. And she had her ribs all busted up here. All Chelsea did, all she could do is just stand there. She's in the ring standing there. She can't do anything because she's not cleared. And she's begging for someone to come out and help put a stop to this. So at this point, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, and this is before what even happened later in the show. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, if that leads to Tiffany losing her title later, which it sure felt like that's where we were headed after this. Once Chelsea is cleared to wrestle in 30 days or, whatever it is, it would be the perfect setup for Tiffany to turn heel on Chelsea and then challenge to take her championship away from her. Because that's what she should be anyway, is a heel. And now she has the perfect story to set it up. Works out perfectly. Trade the U.S. title to go after the bigger belt. Now you have a real reason for doing so, right? She could put all the blame on Chelsea. This is all your fault. You wanted to be friends with me. You got me to care about you. And then me trying to be the nice friend that I am, I end up losing my championship. I want yours, right? Story sells itself. They showed footage of Alexa Bliss and Tatum Paxley showing up at the end of the main event last week between Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill. This was Tatum's debut. She is now officially aligned with Charlotte and Alexa. So we come back live, and Charlotte's in the back with Alexa. They're walking down the hallway, and Charlotte is thanking her for the save last week. And Alexa says, well, don't thank me. That was all Tatum. And she thanks Charlotte, for being nice to her. Flair said, look, that was a one-time thing, her being nice to Tatum, I guess. And Bliss said, well, Tatum has a surprise for you. Really, for the both of them. She opens the door to what looks like the broom closet. And Tatum Paxley is in this very small, again, closet. And it's made out to look like a shrine where they have photos of Charlotte, I think Charlotte and Alexa on the walls. And so they both go into the room with her. The door closes behind them. I don't know why. And that was the segment. They both look very creeped out by Tatum Paxley. So she's going to be their weird little friend, I guess, going forward. We got a recap of last week's promo, really. That's really all it was, with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. This was the promo where Cody said to him, I'm no longer constrained by the standards of the championship. I no longer have to be the good guy. So after that, we see live in the back, Cody walks up to Nick Aldis, and he wants him to book him a match against Randy Orton. And Aldis said, we have this event coming up at the beginning of next month. It's the Sunday before Labor Day, a little event called Sunday Night's Main Event, which just so happens to be in Atlanta, GA, which he knows is a very special place to Cody. Cody's a Georgia guy. And so he can make the match for that show. And Cody, really all Cody is interested in is just getting the match. It doesn't matter to him when it is. Sami Zayn shows up and he bitches about Cody being the golden boy and getting whatever he wanted. I had to earn my title shot in a 4-way match, and yet Cody just has to say when. So Cody said, look, I'm not going to have any of this shit. I told you, I don't owe you anything. He's going off on Sami. He's getting all animated, and he challenges him to do something about it. And Sami said, well, I did what nobody else has been able to do. He says, I pinned you clean in the middle of the ring. And this led to a match being made because Cody said, well, you want to do something about it? Why don't we do it tonight? And Sami was like, I can't. I'm hurt. And he showed he had the brace on his for his carpal tunnels. Whatever. He had the brace on his hand, on his wrist. And Aldis says, well, you can't or you won't. He goes, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll sweeten the pot a little bit. You take this match tonight. You beat Cody Rhodes. You get the winner of the match next week between CM Punk and Kevin Owens, and you get yourself a WWE Championship match. So he was willing to give that to Sami Zayn if he would accept the main event tonight, which he did, and so the main event was made official for later in the show. After this, we had our first of 3 championship matches of the night. We had our first of 2 U.S. title matches. It was Baron Corbin defending the United States Championship against the former champion Carmelo Hayes.
It's the amazing Goonthar.
But first, we have the amazing Goonthar with us.
Loves Goonthar, the magnificent. All hail Goonthar.
That deserves a yes chant if I ever heard one. They did not bring back Sunday Night Heat. It is Sunday night's main event. I'll tell you what, you go back and watch those early days of Sunday Night Heat. Those shows were far bigger than any Saturday night's main event they've done. Man, those early Sunday Night Heat shows, they had actual stars on those shows. And those shows were pulling Nielsen numbers in the 5s for fucking Sunday Night Heat. People forget about that. Heat was only supposed to be a temporary thing at the very beginning. And then it became a regular thing, and then it just kind of turned to shit and went from being live to being taped, and it just wasn't the same anymore. But we got a Gunther bomb from J-Man, 281 or 20081. I love your reviews, Solo. Keep up the great work. Thank you, J-Man. Very kind of you. I will do so. As long as you keep showing up, I'll be here. So Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes. The crowd may have been quiet for a lot on this show. They were loud, though, for Melo. They gave him a nice hometown welcome. He's from the area. Unfortunately, they could not be bothered to give a shit about Corbin when he came out. He rode out on stage again on his motorcycle like the American bald ass. So the U.S. title, unfortunately, still has the white fur on the edges. And if that isn't a sign that they're just going to put the belt back on Trick very soon, then I don't know what is. Like every week that goes by, and he's now beaten Trick twice. Every week that goes by that he does not shave that shit off, or they don't send him out there with the old U.S. title without the white fur, it just is a dead giveaway that the belt is going back to Trick in the next few weeks. So, unfortunately, it is still furry. Hayes connected on a frog splash about midway through the match. Corbin, though, kicked out. First 48 got countered with a Corbin big boot, and Corbin then dropped him with a great-looking deep six, only for a near fall. Hayes recovered. He hit back-to-back first 48s. He tried for nothing but net off the top, but Corbin shoved him off the top rope, and the idea was, I believe, that he was going to go head first into the barricade. He was going to collide face first into the barricade, but he fell just short. So it didn't come off as quite as devastating, I think, as they intended for it to be. All the same, though, he ends up back in the ring. Corbin hits the end of days, which is still one of the most protected moves in wrestling. And I was pretty confident that we weren't getting a kick out here, and we didn't. And so, actually, my belief is that they're probably going to have Trick Williams kick out of it. I don't think they're going to be as protective over this move going forward as they have been for all these other years. I think they're going to give it to Trick to kick out of. But Carmelo was not as lucky. And so Hayes got pinned, sucked the air right out of the crowd with that 3 count. After the match, Trick appeared on stage. He has his rotating platform. So he basically got like a full entrance here. And he's rotating around, and Corbin is distracted. He's watching this from the ring. Meanwhile, he doesn't realize that behind him, it's the return of Lil Yachty. And he's got his trick stick. And he strikes Corbin in the back with it, which is more of an annoyance than anything else. And Corbin turns around, and he goes to hit him again, and Corbin takes the stick away from him. And in comes Trick Williams from behind. He takes a swing at Trick. Trick ducks it, comes off the ropes, and he drops Corbin with a trick shot knee. And Corbin rolls out to the floor. So they're setting up for one more match. Even though he lost 2 of them already, he did get hit in the head both times with the belt. So you would think this third match has to have some sort of stipulation to it, and maybe Sunday night's main event. I don't think we have another PLE until Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank is not until October 10th. So unless they're adding WrestlePalooza at the last minute, it's looking increasingly like there will, be no WrestlePalooza, and there may not be a Crown Jewel, because we've heard nothing about Crown Jewel either. So my guess is they probably saved the match for Atlanta and Sunday night's main event, and they switched the belt back to Trick Williams on that show. Carmelo Hayes, boy, he came across like such an afterthought here at the end. And I really hope that once the belt goes back to Trick, we can kind of get back to the Trick and Melo stuff. Because if not, that's a terrible sign for Carmelo Hayes. That's my only hope for him. He's not going to have anything to do with the world title picture unless it's like a one-off match on TV with CM Punk. You have CM Punk wants to be the defending champion, and he'll defend every now and then against some rando from the roster. I could see that, but in terms of an actual program, something consistent, a story on this show, the best thing that Melo could hope for is that the belt changes back to Trick, and then he can kind of resume things with him. Because he got beat clean by Corbin here. There was no belt shot to the head here. They protected Trick to that extent in the first 2 matches where Corbin had to cheat to win. Corbin didn't cheat to win here. He shoved him off the top rope. So what? He beat the guy clean. Not good. Not a good sign. In the back, Chelsea Green was talking to Tiffany Stratton, who was all banged up after what happened earlier in the show. And she said that she can still compete tonight, so she's still going out there to defend her championship against Jacy Jayne. How about it? Couldn't bend over to pick him up. How about it? Venom Katetsu, thank you very much. Send that man to Raw. Well, if he's not going to wrestle Trick for the U.S. title coming out of this, then I agree. Do a little switcheroo, send him to Raw. Maybe there's somebody they can move over to SmackDown somewhere in the mid-card. Do like an even trade between the two GMs. Next up was the face-to-face in the ring between the WWE Champion CM Punk and perhaps the future WWE Champion, although it feels increasingly unlikely next week, Kevin Owens. Their big match is coming up in Toronto next Friday, so this is it. The final interaction between the two of them before the big title match. So Punk was in one corner. Owens was sitting on top of the turnbuckle in the opposite corner. And Punk said, look, you're not a coward. You were about to say something. So, because Owens had come out first and it looked like he was about to speak. Punk's music cut him off and then he came out. So that's what he's referring to. He goes, looks like you were about to say something. So say it to everybody here in Boston. And then Punk again interceded and did his, it's great to be alive. And, you know, whatever his line is. Owens said it was ironic that Punk, was coming out here talking about saying things to his face when last week they were about a foot away from each other. And yet Punk chose to be all the way down there, all the way down the aisle with his back turned to call Kevin what? A fat slob? Said, of course, the camera caught it. It wasn't quite the language that he used, but that was the gist of it. Punk said, you don't think I would say this to your face? And Owens said, no, I know you would. But our story actually begins 20 years ago. And I say, here we go. Here it comes. Punk said, you want to educate the fans as to why Kevin Owens doesn't like CM Punk? Go right ahead. And so KO did. Owens said 20 years ago, he and Phil wrestled for the same independent promotion. And Punk was the big top guy. He was just someone, he being Owens, he was just someone who was trying to make a name for himself. And on that night, Punk, all the ways that he could have decided for things to go, he chose to berate Owens and insult him in front of a whole locker room full of his peers. Punk said, 20 years you've been holding on to this? 20 years? Owens said, well, I don't like you for a lot of reasons, but it's also the person that you've been, the things that you've said, the way that you've treated people that I care about, good friends of mine. And Punk said, which friends? I'm going to need you to be a little more specific. He's pretty sure Kevin's friends hate him. Owens said, Punk may think he's only talking about 3 of them, but every friend that I've had in this industry hates you. And Punk said, being hated by losers is the price that he pays for not being one of them. Owens said, that's another perfect example of why I despise you. He sees it back there, a locker room full of people that look up to Punk, and why? Said Punk came back here and made amends. There's one guy left that still doesn't like him, and that's Kevin Owens. And he'll never like him because everything that he says, everything Punk says is performative. And then he walked up to Punk and he yelled for him, look at me when I'm talking to you. He got up real close at his face. He goes, Punk is a phony. The only reason that he came back and made everything right is because he had no choice, because the kind of person he is led to him screwing things up everywhere else he went. Punk had no choice, and he doesn't respect people like that. And while Punk was gone, regardless of what Punk thinks about him, and then at that point he goes, I'm going to take a step back here because your breath's a little rough. Regardless of all that, Owens says he did pretty well for himself. 12 years consistently in this ring before this injury. He's won titles, right? Universal champion. Something else Punk will never get to do. He main evented WrestleMania against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Punk said, you did. You did. Congratulations. He was happy for him then. He's happy for him now. But does Owens really think that he would have been afforded those opportunities if he was still here? Like Punk wouldn't have been picked before Owens? Owens asked him to tell him why he thinks he wouldn't have gotten those opportunities. Go ahead, say it. Why do you think I would not have gotten those opportunities? Because it's the same thing you thought about me 20 years ago. What am I, huh? He goes, am I some fat indie slob who should be on the other side of the guardrail? Punk said, is that what I think of you, or is that what you think of yourself? He's here tonight in Boston as the undisputed WWE champion, and he's got a locker room full of guys that want to be champion. Says, hell, he's calling out Obafemi, which is what he did on the SummerSlam post show. He's calling out Obafemi, and instead he gets endometriosis. Now, I don't even get the joke there, right? First of all, isn't that something that only women get? I mean, I don't really understand what he was going for. Like, if you want to make a fat joke, there's a million other ways that you could do that. There's like a million other diseases or things that he could have mentioned there. At least make it make sense. That line didn't really make any sense to me. Punk says Owens wants to listen to Punk disparage him. He looks at Owens and he sees a tough guy. He really does. He would be a fool to take him lightly. He sees a guy who speaks 2 languages when he can barely speak 1, which means that Owens is smarter than him. But then he also sees a guy that avoids the work, that doesn't try to be at least 1% better every single day, and that makes him stupid. He sees a tough guy, but he's a bum. Owens avoids the hard work. He calls Punk a shapeshifter, but really, I've evolved. I want to be better than I was the day before. If Owens had done half the work that Punk has done in his career, maybe he would have been able to avoid that Bill Goldberg spear that ended the last time that Owens had a championship belt around his waist. Owens asked him, you think I want to be more like you? I've spent my career avoiding that. He's convinced that Punk, for all the titles and all the money that he has, when he goes home, he looks in the mirror and he hates who he is. Him? He doesn't. He loves who he is. He's always been the same guy. He's the same guy that Punk screamed at 20 years ago. And guess what? That fat indie loser is in the ring with him right now, and he's facing him for the WWE Championship next week. And you know what? Being like Punk probably wouldn't have helped, because after all, Punk couldn't avoid that Roman Reigns spear at WrestleMania. Punk says he looks at Kev and he sees himself from 20 years ago, someone who's stubborn and loud, always thinking he's the smartest guy in the room, but he still sees the same guy he saw 20 years ago. And Owens says, does that bother you? Because I never seeked out your advice or your guidance? He's regretted for 20 years not punching Punk in the mouth in that locker room. Punk said, why don't you do it now? And Owens said, you know why I didn't do it then? Because I know that you would have ruined my career and that would have been it. And he's not going to do it now, because next week in Toronto, he not only gets to punch Punk in the face, he's waited 20 years, okay, so he could wait another 7 days for that, but he gets to beat his bitch ass for the WWE Championship after punching him in the face. Punk said 20 years ago, Owens was a greenhorn who stepped into his locker room and thought he could get away with speaking to him disrespectfully. And he's been crying about the consequences ever since. You say you've never looked up to me? That's fine by me, because in Toronto, that's exactly what he's going to do when he puts his fat ass to sleep. You know, Owens has actually trimmed down from the last time we saw him. He actually is not as heavy as he was prior to the injury. So I just want to point that out. I thought this was largely great. Outside of that one weird line from Punk, I thought this was great. The crowd was pretty quiet for it, which did hurt the segment a little bit. But they did bring up the T-shirt incident. I was wondering, you know, when I told you guys about it all those weeks ago, because there were people who had never heard that story before. I was like, I'm almost certain it'll be worked into one of these promos. And sure enough, there it was. We had our T-shirt story here. They just never mentioned the T-shirt part. And we had a Young Bucks reference without actually naming the Young Bucks. But this was everything I was hoping the Punk and Cody exchange was going to be, you know, in the lead up to SummerSlam. And I was very disappointed in that. But Punk and Owens and me, Punk and Owens, they had more material to work with. To be fair, they had a lot more material here to work with. See, it was never really going to work as well with Punk and Cody as it did here with Punk and Owens, because like with these two, there's nothing manufactured, or at least it doesn't come off that way. It doesn't come off as manufactured, this feeling that you have two men in the ring, as we did tonight, who genuinely feel like they don't like each other. And it's especially noticeable how it kind of radiates off of Owens towards Punk, maybe more than Punk towards Owens. But like, you don't have to really take the extra step, I think, to convince people that these two might possibly not like each other in real life, even if that really isn't the case. With Cody and Punk, it was more like, all right, you got to try to, that's why we got like the belt shot to the face by accident. And then at the live event, you know, when they were teaming up, they showed highlights of Cody like back elbowing Punk in the face, and it was so forced. And it just didn't work. You know, I see what they were trying to do, but it just didn't work. Here, you just let these two go in the ring together and put a mic in their hands and just let them go off on each other. And so I thought this was quite good. Punk came off definitely as more of the heel in this segment, especially calling him fat. You're a fat ass. Although honestly, Owens was insulting himself more than like Owens was the one who called himself a fat indie slob. Like those words never left Punk's lips. Punk kind of had a point, that one line he goes, is that how I think of you, or is that how you think of yourself? Because you're the one who keeps calling yourself that. So maybe there's a little insecurity on your part. But I mean, look, that was certainly a criticism of Kevin Owens many, many years ago that certain people had, and probably people in WWE, which is why there were many, many years that went by where Kevin Steen was not signed by the company, not until much later on. And it was people like Punk and Bryan Danielson who helped knock those doors down, that helped usher in an era of talent that included people like Kevin Owens, who Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis and people like that would never have given a second thought to. There's a reason why Samoa Joe was passed on by WWE for many years. And it wasn't until Triple H brought him into NXT in 2015, which, by the way, was only supposed to be for NXT. And there's he was able to keep his name. He was able to work some outside like indie shots. It was a very weird contract, or like a very weird arrangement they had with Joe. But Joe got so over, it's like, of course, how are you not going to bring this guy to the main roster? Are you out of your fucking mind? So eventually he made his way to the main roster. But by that point, it was 2015, 2016. Like those prime Joe years were lost to TNA and dick tattoos on his face. After that great stuff that Joe did with Kurt Angle, like, imagine if Vince McMahon and WWE could see the talent that they had in Joe, even though he wasn't their prototypical WWE star. Imagine bringing him in years earlier, what he could have done with John Cena and Randy Orton and Punk and all those guys, right? But like, it took years for people like that to even get a second look. So I'm sure Owens heard that criticism a lot. I'm sure he does carry that with him. I don't know that I've ever heard Punk refer to him that way, or Punk ever did, like even in the locker room back then. But it was kind of funny that it was Owens, was the one who was constantly bringing that up here in this promo without Punk even saying those words. The other thing is like Punk going after him for not putting in the work. That rang a little hollow to me. I mean, unless he was talking about his physique, no one is going to look like the fans are not going to look at Kevin Owens and say, oh, this guy, he hasn't put in the work. Yeah, the guy's busted his ass for the last decade. He's had some, great matches, and he's been in all these different feuds and wars. And so again, that's what I mean when I say Punk is the one who came off as more of the heel. And now you're going into Canada. You're going into Toronto next week. It's going to be even worse. Not that Punk is going to not have any fans there, but like, it's going to be a very heavily pro Kevin Owens crowd. And I think they have to know that, going into the match next week. So I'm looking forward to the match. It should make for a very fun atmosphere, I think, in that building. And if you give them enough time and, probably through 2 commercial breaks, whatever it is, to go out there and do what they can do, it should be a great match. I believe this is legit the first one-on-one match these two have ever had in their entire careers together. Too bad it took this long to get there, but I'm glad we're finally getting it. Backstage, Finn Balor was having a conversation with Nick Aldis, who apologized for not giving Balor a heads up about the change to his SummerSlam match. And Gunther interrupts. he still wants Aldis to answer for pulling a fast one on him at SummerSlam. Not realizing that Balor is standing right there. Aldis is like, oh, I didn't notice. Gunther says all he sees is the shadow of what Balor used to be. Balor calls him a condescending prick, says he's happy to go through Gunther to get himself another shot at the title. And Gunther left at that point. So when I said earlier, like, Gunther is a man with no direction, he is still a man with no direction. But at least now we know we're headed towards a Gunther and Finn Balor match. At least he has something coming up, something on the horizon. What was on the horizon next was a three-way for the WWE Tag Team Championship. It was R-Truth and Damian Priest defending their titles against the AAA Tag Team Champions, the War Raiders, and the MFTs, Tama Tonga, who came out with Haku. Crowd was quiet for most of this match. The Vikings, they looked like they were about ready to end Truth when Priest made the save. He ended up, though, taking a pop-up power slam through the Timekeeper's barricade outside. Back inside, Tama Tonga went for Cutthroat, but he missed, and Truth did all of his stolen John Cena spots. And then this led to the MFTs hitting their Brother's Keeper, the double powerbomb finish to pin Truth to win the WWE Tag Team titles. Wade Barrett on commentary, he mentioned that Haku, who got into the ring and celebrated with his men, his boys, he mentioned that Haku once held those very tag team titles with Andre the Giant about 3.5 decades ago. Those were the Colossal Connection days where Andre could barely move. Andre spent most of his time either on the apron or tied up in the ropes, resting. And Haku did most of the work. It did lead, though, I will say, it did lead to a big tag team title change at WrestleMania at the Sky Dome, where the crowd just exploded when Demolition won the belts. That was their third tag team title. That effectively was the end of Demolition that night. Because within a few months, they turned them heel, they got the LOD into the company, and at that point, they didn't give a shit about Demolition. That was like the peak of Demolition. I don't mind this. I don't mind them putting the belts on the MFT. Yeah, the MFTs now, they're a team. It's not some, garbage faction that they are half-assing and they don't want to put the effort into to get us to really care about any of those people. If you are not going to put the effort in to get me to care about a group of people, then I am not going to give a shit. That's how it works. That's why the fans didn't care about the MFTs. They didn't react to the MFTs when they were out there. Nobody cared about Solo and Tama and fucking Jacy Mateo and Tama Tonga because we were not given a reason to give a shit. And then came the whole feud with the Wyatt Six, and it was just one long 6-month period of just absolute dog shit. These two as a tag team managed by Haku, I think is fine. Again, once they brought Haku in, it seemed pretty clear they were going to end up getting those tag team belts. Otherwise, what's the point? If you're bringing in Haku to try to give these guys a new edge or like a new attitude, it doesn't make any sense to then put them in the tag team title picture and just have them get beat. It also frees up Damian Priest, who can now do things other than just be stuck in tag team hell. I don't know what he's going to do next, but it can't be any worse than being stuck in a dead tag team division. So I'm fine with this. We had Tiffany Stratton up next, defending her Women's United States Championship. Shout out to number one Homo Sapien. I spotted him in the chat earlier. 23 months of channel membership. Says, what are your thoughts on the reports that SmackDown is going back to 3 hours in January? I have no thoughts. This is what happens every year. I know it's coming. I try not to think about it. Hopefully it will take a long time to get to January. I'm going to enjoy 2 hours of SmackDown while it lasts. I don't give a shit how many things end up being left off the show. Oh, don't you think it needs to? No, I don't. If things are being left off the show, do a better job of rotating people in and out of the show. You will never convince me that SmackDown can only be a good show if it's 3 hours long. There are still people out there. There are some people out there who still believe that. They still believe that to be true. That's a lie. Don't believe them. Tiffany Stratton against Jayne. for the Women's United States Championship. Tiffany came into this at less than 100%. She had the busted up ribs from the angle earlier in the show when she attempted to make the save for Chelsea Green. After a commercial break, Chelsea hit ringside to check on Tiffany, and she stayed out there. Tiffany got her second win. She hit the cartwheel Alabama slam, headed up top for the senton bomb, and boy, she came down like Jeff Hardy does these days on the swanton. She came straight down on top of Jacy with all of her weight and just knocked all the air out of her lungs. So later on, she hit the prettiest moonsault ever, but Jacy got the knees up on the landing. So she covered, and Tiffany kicked out. Jacy tried for the rolling encore. Tiffany, though, caught her with a knee strike instead. And at ringside, Chelsea starts getting into it verbally with Fallon Henley and Lainey Reed. Meanwhile, Tiffany heads up top. She's going to finish things off. She's going to try for another PME, but she notices that her friend, her partner outside, is being ganged up on. And so she opts instead to hit a crossbody out onto Fatal Influence to save her friend. But that decision proves to be very costly, because as Tiffany gets back in the ring, Jacy Jayne is there and she blasts her in the head, in the face with the rolling encore, and she folds her up for the 1, 2, 3 and new. Tiffany Stratton no longer the United States champion. As a match, this was not very good. But that is back-to-back title changes here on this show. And now all three members of Fatal Influence, they are draped in gold. And to the point that I made earlier in the review when I talked about this, Tiffany and Chelsea, now that it was very clear, the reason that Tiffany lost her championship is because she decided it was more important to save her friend. That will create some problems now between Tiffany Stratton and Chelsea Green. And so when Chelsea is medically cleared in 30 days or however long it takes, the first person who's going to be coming after her and her women's championship should be Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany should blame her. And that is going to be how we get Tiffany Stratton as a heel. If they know what they're doing with Tiffany Stratton, that is the direction to take here. Even Tiffany herself has been asked about this in interviews, and she has said the same thing, that being the heel, being the bad guy, it comes more naturally to her. It's still weird for her to be a babyface. She doesn't really know how to do it. It doesn't seem like she's comfortable in that spot. So make the move. When the time is right, she turns on Chelsea. Probably will end up being the one to take that championship from Chelsea. And then by the time Rhea Ripley comes back, we may be looking at Rhea trying to get the belt back, not from Chelsea, but from Tiffany Stratton. Story is right there. Our main event was Cody Rhodes, one-on-one with Sami Zayn. This, of course, if you looked at the clock, when this match was going to the ring, was very unlikely to actually happen because we had about 5 minutes left in the show. So our main event was actually not to be, because before Sami Zayn could even hit the ring, Cody was already in the ring. Before Sami Zayn could even hit the ring, Randy Orton attacks Cody from behind. I wouldn't be surprised if there was shit that had to be cut from this show tonight. It did kind of feel like they were rushing a little bit towards the end to make sure they got in what they needed to get in. And again, they went off the air. I mean, maybe it was intentional, but they went off the air and there was still stuff going on. But Randy comes in right away, and he delivers a draping DDT to Cody. Again, the bell hasn't rung, so this match never officially got started. Now he's setting up for the RKO. Cody avoids it, and he counters into what is going to be a crossroads. Randy reaches up, though, and gouges his eyes, puts his thumbs in his eyes, is able to break that up, and he tosses Cody out to the floor. So Orton goes outside, and he picks up the steel steps, hits Cody in the face with the steel steps. Orton then places the steps, the top part of the ring steps, up against the announce desk. This is very similar to what they did many months ago when they were building to WrestleMania. He leans him up against the announce desk. So meanwhile, they end up in the crowd, and Cody threw a drink in his face, and he hits Randy in the head with a garbage can. And they're just kind of fighting through the crowd, a little bit deeper and deeper into the crowd. You know, not up the stairs or anything, but just kind of around and on the main floor. And then they fight their way back to ringside, right over by the announce desk. And they go to do the same exact spot that they did pre-WrestleMania. This is before Pat McAfee got involved and infected the WrestleMania main event, where you had Cody, laying on top of the announce desk. Orton has his head placed in the crevice of the ring steps, which are leaned up against the desk. Randy grabs a chair. He stands on top of the announce desk, and he is going to smash this man's brains in. Now, there are officials that are out there, and they're not doing a damn thing to stop him. So Orton is standing on top of the desk, and he raises the chair into the air like he's going to kill this man, and Cody kicks him right in the crotch. By the way, we get far too many of these. Can I just say that? It feels like we get an overabundance of low blows in this company these days. They rely on that spot way too much. Way too many dick kicks going on. I know it's an easy way out. You kick somebody in the dick, but you got to dial it back. It's too much. Cody stands up now on the desk. He has the chair. He hits Orton in the back. He's very careful in hitting Orton in the back with the chair because the last thing you want to do is re-injure Randy Orton's back. But he hits him in the back with the chair. And now Orton very gently, he lays down, and now he's in that position where his head is in between the crevice of the ring steps. Cody lifts the chair above his head. He's going to bash his brains in, but now Daivari, one of the agents, he jumps up on the desk, and he snatches the chair out of his hands and saves Randy Orton's life. And now all the agents, they grab Cody and they pull him off the top of the announce desk. Now the credits are rolling as they're holding Cody back. Cody breaks free. He gets back up on the desk. And at that point, they ran out of time. Or as Tony Schiavone would say back in the day, we're desperately out of time. And they fade out. And so in the middle of all this, the show just ended. I do love how they were going to allow Randy Orton to murder this man with the chair. But when Cody holds the chair up, no, we can't allow this. We got to pull that shit out of his hands. We got to save Randy Orton here. We don't give a fuck about Cody getting his brains bashed in. Randy Orton, no. We got to put a stop to this. So they reshot the same angle that we just saw 5 months ago, or at least some variation of it. Not very creative. I would have liked to have seen them do something completely different, come to the same result, but they just ran the same angle back. At least we got some real action between these two. It wasn't the action we were promised. We were promised the main event, and we didn't get it, which I thought was actually very lame. Even though it does feed into the whole Sami Zayn, justice for Sami is screwed gimmick. It feeds right into that. But we didn't get a lot of good wrestling on this show. So if ever there was a show where we could have used the Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton main event and give those guys 10 minutes, this was the night for that. And unfortunately, we didn't get that. I did enjoy this show, though, more than the average SmackDown, largely because of the opening segment and the Cody and Punk segment, or rather the Owens and Punk segment. And then that plus the two title changes at least made the show newsworthy, even though I didn't think in either of the two title changes the matches were particularly good. Toronto next week should be fun, though, with the championship match. The only thing is, with Sami getting screwed out of what would have been, had he won, a guaranteed title shot against either CM Punk or Kevin Owens coming out of next week, now he gets nothing because he was screwed again, which in my mind, all but guarantees. Maybe it was going to happen anyway before, if you really think about it, but now, all but guarantees that this match is getting fucked next week by Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is going to get involved. He's going to be beside himself. He's been screwed one too many times. Now he's not even getting the shot. So he's going to fuck everything up next week. I am convinced of this. But that was SmackDown. There you go. Still your women's champion for now, Chelsea Green. Now the goal, before I get into your super chats, the goal from the wheel was 515. We're about 100 away. What are we at? We're 416. Less than 100 away. Can we do it? I don't know. We'll find out in a little bit. Let's get to your super chats first. We'll find out shortly. We didn't do Be the Booker on Wednesday. We did it on Monday. We didn't do it Wednesday. At this rate, it may be Monday before we get back to it. Sammy winning Money in the Bank. I've had people tell me that they think Dominic Mysterio is going to win Money in the Bank because he's been booked so poorly. Hey, how about they just don't know what the fuck to do with Dominic and he's being punished? How's that for an answer? It's like me having to hear people for years now. LA Knight's going to win Money in the Bank. LA Knight's going to win Money in the Bank. How'd that work out for you? Joseph Stewart is with us on a Friday. Happy Friday, Joseph. Could you see The Undertaker starting up a wrestling promotion? No, it's called AAA. It's the one he's running right now. What the hell does he need to start up a wrestling promotion for? He's already got one. He's in a great position, actually, because he basically runs the company, but not the business end. He doesn't have to worry about any of the business decisions. He doesn't have to worry about investing his own money. You want to lose money, go ahead and start a wrestling promotion. If you like burning money, starting a wrestling promotion is a great idea. Otherwise, I don't know why you would ever want to do it. Is the reason why The Undertaker wore sunglasses and a bandana out in public was to stay in disguise? No. He's like a biker guy. That's just what they wear. I mean, I don't think it had anything to do with him trying to disguise himself. It's kind of hard to disguise yourself when you're walking around and you're 6'10", and you look like the Undertaker looks. Like you're not going to be able to really hide yourself. The Disney convention is happening this weekend, and Marvel is supposed to have a panel on Avengers Doomsday tonight. Well, if there's any movie coming out that, could potentially make the money that Spider-Man made or even beat it, it's going to be Doomsday. I'm still not convinced that it's going to beat what Spider-Man did, though. We have Super Pony. Gunther is ice cold right now. I feel nothing when I see him, nor do I take him serious. He needs to take time off or something, because this ain't it. Yeah, they just don't have a real direction for him. I mean, I thought he was great, again, as that douchebag heel in that opening segment, but he doesn't have a real direction right now. Broly says 9:37 and still 2 matches left. Yeah, one of which we didn't get. Kratos says, as Jim Cornette says, how do you make $5 million in wrestling? Start with 10. It's true. Now, he would know. I mean, he ran a promotion. Not for very long. How long does Smoky Mountain last? 3 years? Dried Chicken says, goodbye, Carmelo Hayes. He should have left SmackDown when he had the chance last year. Melo is dead on SmackDown. I cannot feel sorry for him now. Well, he doesn't control the booking. I mean, he can't transfer himself to Raw. How are you going to blame him? Come on, dude. He doesn't make those decisions. Super Pony, Sammy 100% is costing Owens after that ending. They're really telegraphing it a lot. Either that or Nick adds him and makes it a triple threat. Yeah, I'd rather we not be continuing to add people to matches at the last minute. Like at SummerSlam, that was fine, but like, can we not do that, please? Dry Chicken says, I laugh when Paul Levesque and the creative challenge and defy logic. It's challenge and defy logic at sometimes. The McMahon family is strange. I think you kind of butchered the super chat there. They are strange. That whole fucking family is strange. I don't even want to read this. a super chat here. Need heel Tiffany ASAP. Miscast as a fan favorite for so long. She does. She does feel miscast. We agree on that. Let's see here. Oh man. See if I can flamethrower. I missed a couple of. Hold on a second here. I missed a whole bunch of them. What the hell happened here? What the hell happened here? Oh man, I missed the whole. Okay, let me go back here. I missed a whole bunch of them here. Joseph Stewart. Oh man, these are all Joseph. My God. Joseph says, who do you think was more like Batman, the Undertaker or Sting? Well, I'm going to say Undertaker, who literally came down from the heavens at Madison Square Garden dressed like Batman one year at Survivor Series. And thankfully, he never did it again because that was fucking awful. Remember he had the bat wings in 96? Who is Undertaker's Joker? Mankind or Kane? Mankind. Easily. Mankind. And Scarlett Johansson is playing Poison Ivy in The Batman Part 2. Yeah, I mean, there's so many pieces of news leaking. Like, I don't even pay attention to most of it. I'll rely on you to keep me posted. Why is Triple H booking Dom to look bad? Because he's being punished for comments that he made publicly a few months ago about his terrible booking, of which he said nothing that was false. He's clearly being punished. Adam Driver has been cast as the villain in the X-Men movie. Another X-Men movie, huh? Joseph, thank you. Death Scythe, what's your favorite Hulk Hogan's real American bullshit fable? Mine is the one which involves Simon Cowell traveling back in time to the 80s. I like the fact that Hogan had the chance to become a pride fighter in the 70s, even though pride fighting didn't exist back then. Can we go with that one? Flamethrower Fluff Salisbury. Two things. Number one, that Chelsea promo was fire. And number two, my oldest son got engaged today on his 29th birthday. Well, congrats to your son. That is very cool. It's a very cool feeling. All right, so this is where, for whatever reason, I skipped over all those and we picked up with Super Ponies. So let's now go back to where we left off here. And I'm not going to say that name. But thank you for the $1.99. Jeremiah with the $4.99. The Chelsea Green and Punk KO segments are what they call a good piece of business. Yeah, the Chelsea stuff at the beginning I thought was the best part of the show. I thought that was great. And it's really cool that the fans responded to her as positively as they did. Venom Kitetsu says, how can Hog be called wrestling when there's no ads on the turnbuckle pads, no ads on the canvas, and the audience wasn't being bombarded by commercials 30 seconds into every match? Wasn't sure what I saw on Friday. Confused. Yeah, I guess we're sports entertainment, I guess, and not wrestling. I guess that's what you would call it. But hey, if Dude Wipes wants to have a conversation about a sponsorship, we're all ears. We're all ears. Did you hear about that? The new Dude Wipes sponsorship that TNA picked up. They're going to have the Dude Wipes sponsor, who's called Deuce. It's a giant pack of dude wipes with arms and legs. It's going to be appearing on TNA television soon. They're going to integrate Deuce into a TNA storyline. I can't wait not to watch. Dry Chicken says Gunther is not white, he's albino. No, that's Sheamus. Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I love how WWE all of a sudden gives a shit about the 30-day title rule. Like, why wasn't this rule applied to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns? It's called selective enforcement. Only when it is convenient for them to do so do they abide by the rules. It's very inconsistent. Thank you, though, for that $30 drop. I appreciate that. Super Pony with the $9.99. I thought KO won the promo battle tonight. Punk constantly fat-shaming Owens is not impressive at all. Well, I mean, to be fair, Owens was fat-shaming himself. He's the one who kept bringing it up. I expect more from the so-called best promo guy in the business, but I think KO is better on the mic. KO is fantastic on the mic. There's an authenticity to him. And to Punk, but honestly, more so KO these days. We got Jason Tarr with that $50 Gunther bomb. Jason, thank you. I love the name. Wee Almighty with a 10. Did you see that worked ass trash can that Cody hit Orton with? That motherfucker was filled with nothing but white paper plates and napkins. Not one bottle, can, or piece of actual trash in sight. You know, with Orton these days, you got to be very careful. He's very delicate. Lakers Pats, why did Triple H want to work SmackDown 04 when he did 02 and 08? 04, right? He was in the middle of his reign of terror. Why would he want to work SmackDown? He already had the belt on Raw. Dried Chicken, if Tiffany Stratton turns heel on Chelsea, pop the eye out. I have no idea what you're... Oh, you mean, the Rollins and Rey Mysterio angle. They could pop the eye right out of that orbital, huh? Venom Kitetsu. Did enjoy watching my first HOG show last week, in all seriousness. Still not confident in the industry overall, but it was fun and hopeful. You guys in AAA are keeping a pulse going. Much appreciated. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hopefully we'll be streaming on YouTube again for our next show. I'm working to make sure that happens. But I believe High Intensity is up to 80,000 views and counting on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Misfit Wrestling Podcast, Hiromu Takahashi has been revealed as Shinsuke Nakamura's partner. Really? Just like that? Where? Was that also announced on Twitter? Like apparently the Blake Monroe-Julia match was? I got to see when that Blake Monroe Julia match was announced. Let's see here. Because I didn't see anything about that. But then again, I was getting ready to go live, so I don't know why I would have seen that. I still don't see anything like that. Let's see. Blake Monroe. Nick Aldis informs Blake Monroe that she will make her SmackDown debut. Again, did this didn't air on the show, did it? Did I miss this? I mean, this had to be an exclusive, an online exclusive, because I didn't see this on the show. Wait a minute. Hold on a second here. Julia lost to Michin on main event? Michin took on Julia on main event and beat Julia. I mean, look, I already told you guys she's done. I told you that last time. What was I talking about? What was last week probably, or the week before? I already told you she's done. Julia's done. She's cooked. And it almost doesn't even matter whether she stays on SmackDown or she goes to Raw. She's done. She's finished. It's over. So her losing to Michin, and if she's going to be wrestling Blake Monroe, I mean, you already know the outcome of that. She's done. It's over. But what is this? What is this Hiromu thing? I know we got that segment with Nakamura last week. Let me see. Okay, so there was a video. Again, I don't know if this was maybe bumped from the show, but WWE posted this at 11:23 p.m. Let me see if I don't have the audio here, but let me. I'm watching this video. Oh yeah, that's him. That's definitely him. So basically, it's Nakamura cutting a promo, and then in the back behind him, there's some sort of screen or something, and you see a silhouette of somebody, and you see like the shoulder length, like stringy hair. That's totally Hiromu. Oh yeah. All right. So they're bringing in Hiromu Takahashi to the main roster. Wow. So they sent Evil to NXT, and Hiromu is going to the main roster. There was a report, though, that Evil had requested to start in NXT, so I wonder if there's any truth to that. Arabian Night, is Ilya and Jordan just done with WWE? Also, Blake Monroe is almost in Julia territory. What a waste. Jordan needs to leave, and Ilya would kill it in AEW. I don't know what's going on with Ilya Dragunov. His career has basically just come to a standstill. Jordan Grace. I feel the same way about Jordan Grace that I do Julia, which is unfortunate to say, but it just seems like they have nothing for her, and that's a death spot to be in. That is not a spot that you want to be in, because that makes you expendable. Because ultimately, the decisions on whether or not people need to be cut, they don't come from necessarily Nick Khan even. I mean, if there are people that need to be cut, it could be a TKO thing where they kind of give you the directive like, okay, we got to trim the fat here and shed some weight from this roster. Pick some men and women to get rid of. And at that point, you have the directive, and you kind of look at what you have, and if there are people who aren't being used, you're going to be the first one gone. I wouldn't want to be in a position like that. That's kind of where they are at this point. It's sad. It's inexplicable to me. Inexplicable. Spray Jacy. Jokes on the career killer. Cardona showed up DOA. So Gunther has no career to kill, is what you're saying. Cardona was already DOA when he came in. Joseph Brooks, do you think Sean Oliver and Bill Apter should have worked with WWE? They could have been either color commentators, interviewers, or even on the creative team. I mean, I have no idea what their creative ideas would even be. Would they even be qualified to be on the creative team? I mean, should they have worked for WWE? They obviously didn't want to. Or WWE had no interest in them, but no, I don't think they had to work for WWE. I don't think Bill Apter in WWE would have worked. Base Beerus says they botched Cena's retirement run and now Gunther. Yeah, pretty much. Libido Bell. I know nothing about baseball. You know nothing about Halo, but just know we both share the feeling of being let down over and over and over again. How do you know? I may be the best Halo player around. I just keep it a secret. You don't know. Combat Theater with a $9.99. I uploaded new content on my channel, all combat sports related. Want to start this journey due to my passion for combat sports. Any support means the world from the community. Solo. What's the name of it? Is it Combat Theater? Oh, I guess it would be Combat Theater. Stupid question. Well, there you go. Go check that out. Combat Theater. That's theater as in T-R-E at the end, not T-E-R. Combat Theater. I wish you all the luck, brother. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to start a new YouTube channel and get in now. It's actually very difficult. But I wish you all the best. If you're passionate about something and you're consistent and you're putting out quality content, obviously your content has to be good. Just grind it out and hopefully you'll find success. Broly7. Shout out to HBK for believing in Jacy Jayne and her improving so much in a year. In a perfect world, all of Fatal Influence are world champion material. I think Fallon Henley, I still feel like I haven't seen enough of Lainey Reed to really judge, but Fallon Henley could absolutely have single success at some point. Jeremy Rose thought Gunther was going to get his heat back by powerbombing Chelsea, and then I remembered I'm watching WWE. Well, I mean, she's not even medically cleared, dude. You want him powerbombing Chelsea with a fucking broken orbital bone? What's the matter with you? We don't do man-on-women violence in WWE, but you know what? Why don't we do it tonight, and we'll do it with the woman who has a broken face. That'd be a great... In fact, let's have Gunther give her a lariat. How about that? That's a great idea. The Real CS, is it fair to say that Tatum is a modern-day Daphne? She gives off that vibe to me. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that. Let her be the first Tatum Paxley. I don't like making these comparisons unless it's just so overt. And I'm not ready to say that. It's a similar kind of look and everything, you know, like a kind of goth look. I haven't heard her scream though. Daphne was a screamer. Beyond that, I don't know what the real comparison would be. Jeremy says, buy or sell, Jada comes to the main roster as Jade's newest baddie, but eventually realizes Jade is using her and it leads to a feud at a big PLE. There are better ways to introduce Jada Parker. I don't know why you would introduce her as just like a lackey for Jade. She's already got two of them. I think that debuting her in a different way, where she's not like a follower, would probably be the better way to go. Jeremy says Chelsea should have said, fuck your 30 days. Liv and Jade never defended their titles. Have you ever heard the expression, don't look a gift horse in the mouth? She should have just been happy that she was able to keep her championship for another 30 days. You got to pick and choose your battles, Jeremy. Solo is actually a top 5 Halo player. Damn right. Base Beer is Punk used to be skinny fat. That's what they called him. Furious Nation. What's up, Solo? Can't believe I'm turning 30 this Sunday. Much love to you and JD. Well, happy birthday, Furious Nation. You're hitting the big 3-0. You're washed. That's it. Your best days are behind you. Now, hope you have a great birthday. Even better, you turn 30 on Sound Off Sunday. You'll get a brand new Sound Off to enjoy. Libido Bell, what are 3 Pros and cons of New York. Hello from Georgia. Cons, definitely the weather. The winters fucking suck in New York. I know it's worse in certain other places, like, oh, woe is me, but like, fuck winter, man. Fuck winter. Fuck the snow. Fuck the ice. Just fuck it all, man. Fuck the snow, fuck ice, fuck everything about it. So that's a con. What's a pro? Well, I mean, living in the city being any of the 5 boroughs. Easy access to whatever I need. I could literally, I am within walking distance of basically everything I need. I technically do not need to use my car to pretty much do all of the essential things that I need to do. And that is very convenient. Now, you could probably say that about any, city, any major, metropolis, but I live in this one, so I can't speak to others. So I like that. And also, in New York, I mean, there's a lot to do. Yeah, you want to make a day of it and go in the city and go hit up different landmarks or different activities, whatever it may be. You got plenty to do. So I would say that's a pro. It's also very, it's like the biggest media market. So if you're a sports fan, there's no shortage of games you could go to. You might not have that luxury in a smaller market. So when you're in a bigger market, I mean, that could be an advantage. But then again, it's also noisy and it's dirty. And I have a love-hate relationship with New York. Deathside says, didn't Hogan also say he once killed Inoki? No, I don't remember him saying that. He said a lot of stuff. I don't know about him ever saying that, though. Furious Nation with a $4.99. SmackDown was decent, but hate that it got cut out at 10 p.m. Makes me wish SmackDown was off USA Network. Sure, Triple H would rather book 2.5 hours than 3, like you've said. I don't even want 2.5 hours of SmackDown. I don't want more than 2 hours of SmackDown. I accept that in January it will become 3 hours again. I don't want more than 2 hours of SmackDown. This show has largely sucked. I don't want more of this show. They have not demonstrated to me that they can consistently book SmackDown as a show that is exciting and interesting to watch. Every now and then you'll get a good SmackDown. Tonight was better than the usual. One show. That's all it is. And then it'll be right back to the usual nonsense. So keep it at 2 hours. 2 hours is fine. Again, you can rotate people in and out as needed. But whatever goodwill they had with me when it came to SmackDown died years ago. Super Pony, do you think it would be better if Sammy causes a DQ next week instead of screwing KO and having him eat a pin? I think we get a triple threat at Sunday night's main event where Sammy eats the pin. I'm already expecting some sort of lame fucking, shitty finish next week. So yeah, I would rather you not beat Kevin Owens clean and then preserve it to run it back with another match. I think that's fine. I'm already conditioning myself to the fact that that's probably the finish we're going to get. Dry Chicken Julia should take a picture with Tony Khan. Could be the fastest way to her getting out of her contract. Gary Shawn with a $9.99. Just showing some love. Thank you. BDO is with us. My first time catching a stream in ages. Happy to see familiar faces. Where have you been? He was on a secret mission overseas, weren't you? He doesn't want to share the details of it, but he was in enemy territory over there. He had to take care of some stuff, but now he's back. Joseph Stewart, hello, Solomonster. I'm back with breaking news. They just released a new trailer of Avengers Doomsday. And Robert Downey Jr. looks awesome as Doctor Doom. I heard his Doctor Doom voice. He's got the accent and everything. Victor Von Doom. Gary with another $9.90. I see Gary assisted in getting us to the 10 out of 10. Just noticed on the bonus goal. And Joseph says the new X-Men movie will be released in theaters in May of 2028. Oh, wait a minute. And Indy Navarrete has been cast as Rogue. Really? See, that I did not know. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm a big Indy Navarrete fan after Obsession. I think she's great. Is that confirmed? I have to see if this is confirmed now. I hope so. That's great. Yes. That's great. That is great news. I'm a big Indy Navarrete fan. Is that the right character for her, though? I don't know, but I'm glad she got the part. Good for her. I know she says she wanted to be in a Marvel movie, so that is very cool. Gary, man, thank you again for all that love. And we have Death Scythe. Death Scythe says, I just did some research, and he said he accidentally killed Inoki with his axe bomber and used CPR to bring him back to life. Didn't he? I've never heard him say that. If it did, then you can add it to the pile. You can add it to the pile of Hoganisms from over the years, because I bet you $100,000 that never actually happened. EJ Slime with a $4.99. Breaking: Indy Navarrete cast as Rogue in X-Men 2028. Adam Driver will also play Mr. Sinister. Boy, that you talk about a quick rise to fame from one role in a movie that cost less than $1 million to make, to go from that to fucking Rogue in X-Men. Good for her, man. That's awesome. For those who don't know, Indy Navarrete is the one who played Nikki, the main character in the movie Obsession, which if you still have not seen Obsession, shame on you. I don't know what you're waiting for. And she will be nominated for Best Actress. I don't know if she'll win. She should. But it would be impossible for me to fathom her not getting a nomination. All right, we hit the 10 out of 10 bonus goal and the main goal. What was the main goal? Oh, we beat that too. Look at that. 2 rounds of Be the Booker. I didn't realize that. Very good, very good, very good. We have 2 rounds coming up. Obsession left me absolutely crushed. Yeah, you know what? I got to rewatch it. I've only seen it like 30 times so far, so. My new favorite thing to do is like every time there's a new reaction, like an Obsession reaction video on YouTube where people watch it for the first time, I have to watch it. They always pop up in my recommendeds and I always watch. So through those now, I've literally seen the movie like 30 or 40 times at this point, and I'm still not tired of it. It's so great. I mean, I'm talking like not even the movie itself, like in the fact that it's an original story and all that, but just like the acting in it, the sound, the use of shadows, the music, the mood, the light, like everything about it. It's just so well done. All right, let's be the Booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the Booker.
It is time to be the Booker. And shout out Curry Barker, man. All this Obsession love. He's a YouTuber. Maybe I should write a screenplay. I'm on YouTube. I'm obsessed. Yes, I am. I'm obsessed with Obsession. You know what's funny about that? That was total word of mouth. I didn't even know that movie existed 2 weeks before I went to go see it. But everybody wouldn't shut up about it. I'm like, well, I guess I have to go see it. And it's my favorite movie of the year. It's one of my favorite movies, period. It has moved, believe it or not, it has moved up my list. I don't know where it ranks, but it's pretty high up there on my list of all-time favorite movies. All right, tag teams, Be the Booker. Here we go. We are going to begin with, oh, wait a minute. Nick Aldis calls for you to add a stipulation. We just started. Already we're adding stipulations. All right, well, we're going to have the first ever tag team fight pit match. I don't think we've ever actually had one of these in real life. I don't remember if we've had one in Be the Booker before. I don't think so. I don't believe so. Hey, shout out. Since when said Cycle channel member for 16 months. Would you have any suggestions for a Lato Oscuro Del Ring Lucha Libre edition? My great uncle wrestled El Santo in the 70s. Cheers. That's very cool. I'm not sure. Do you mean Lady Oscuro? You mean like, I'm not sure what the question is. If it is, I don't know. I don't know who. I'd have to think about that as far as who I would pick in that role. But maybe you can clarify for me. All right, we have a fight pit match with the Guns, Austin and Colton Gunn. I don't think fight pit when I think of the Guns. Oh, Dark Side of the Ring. Okay, so you're saying a Dark Side of the Ring Lucha Libre edition. Is that what you're saying? Well, in that case, oh my gosh. Who was the, oh God, his name just popped out of my head. The wrestler who died many years ago in the match. Rey Mysterio went to give him a 619. He was in the ropes. Paris Del Mal. God, who am I thinking of? Why did his name pop out of my head? They could do one on him. Because that was incredibly sad, what happened with him. The New Day against the Guns. Do you realize that this could be an actual match very soon, just without the fight pit stipulation? Thank you, Pero Aguayo Jr. I don't know why his name just popped out of my head. Pero Aguayo Jr. I mean, that's a video I wish I had not seen. Women's Be the Booker. Ivy Nile. I can't remember the last time Ivy Nile was even on TV. Ivy Nile and Camille. Speaking of which, it's a battle between two women who couldn't buy television time. I can't remember the last time I saw Camille on TV either. She came back, and then she just disappeared again. And now it's been months, and again, I don't remember when it was the last time that we actually saw her on TV. So if Ivy Nile and Camille were to wrestle each other, it would obviously be off the air somewhere. They might actually fight in the locker room. This is not going well, guys. This round of Be the Booker is a fail so far. An epic fail. The catering title match, yes. They're going to have a food fight in catering. We need the main event to save it. Okay, this is a good start right here. We have Kenny Omega, the reigning AEW World Champion. Save us, Kenny. Save us, Kenny. Kenny Omega against Jay Uso. Yes. Yes, I hit the wrong sound effect, but then we corrected ourselves. We corrected ourselves. I'm sorry, Jey Uso in the main event is just an automatic fail. We needed a strong main event, and then you give me Jey Uso in the main event. I'm giving that the buzzer. I don't give a fuck what you say. That was an awful round. I don't know what else to say. That was an awful, awful round. But thankfully, because we hit the bonus goal, we're not done yet. We are not done. We get another bite at the apple. We get another crack at it. Yes, we do. Just push all the buttons. I'll hit every sound effect that I have. We get to try again, guys. We get to redeem ourselves. You know, Kenny Omega was supposed to win the AEW World title at Redemption. We're going to get our own redemption here. I could feel it. We're going to have a blindfold match. All right, maybe I was lying. We're going to have a blindfold tag team match, which sounds terrible. This sounds like an awful idea. This is a terrible idea. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Wow, look at this. This is going back, man. This is old school. This is them as tag team champions on SmackDown back when Johnny Gargano actually wrestled. You remember that? Do you remember when Johnny Gargano actually wrestled? My memories are a little fuzzy, but I think he actually used to get in the ring and do wrestling moves. But it might not matter here because they're going to be blindfolded. Against Chronic. A blindfold match. Oh my God. What is wrong with Be the Booker tonight? I think Be the Booker is it's like protesting. Gargano and Ciampa against Chronic in a blindfold match. That might be worse than anything I booked in the first round. Oh man. This is not going well. Be the Booker has been cursed by Danhausen. It feels like it. 3 stages of hell. I feel like we're in 3 stages of hell right now. We could never return to this territory. We have a 3 stages of hell women's match. There we go. All right. We might be on the right path here. We have Toni Storm. Not Timeless, but we have Toni Storm. I have a good feeling about this. I think we're back on the right path. Toni Storm, and we have Daria, right? That's her name now. I forgot her WWE name. Sonya Deville. I was stuck there for a moment. I had to unstick myself. I was frozen. I was frozen today. Yeah, that's a buzz. That's a buzz, guys. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say, but all I know is that we have one match left to try to save this thing. Or we get the dreaded double sweep, but it's like the double opposite sweep. What are we looking at here? We're looking at a barroom brawl. I think Be the Booker might have been hanging out at the bar for a little too long. This is the 6th match that I'm booking here. Can we get one? Can you give me one at least? Can we do that? We have a barroom brawl with... Finally. Bret the Hitman Hart. The best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. He's going to save us. Save us, Bret. Finally. Bret Hart against Hollywood Hulk Hogan in a bar room brawl. We are saved. We got one, guys. We got one. Bret's going to beat that ass. That's for SummerSlam, motherfucker. The SummerSlam that never was, but should have been. Hogan's getting his ass beat by little teeny Bret Hart. We went 1 for 6. I think Be the Booker should try out for the Mets. I think it would fit right in. At least I gave you one. At least I gave you one. Hey, SAIYAN, welcome to the channel. Came in at just the right time. We just booked a hell of a match. Dried chicken. They should do a Dark Side of the Ring episode on Sexy Star. That's not a bad one. That's another good one. Although, I mean, if that's the only thing for them to really cover that was overly negative, that's going to be a very boring episode. If it's just what she did in that match, fucking up Rosemary's arm, I don't know that that's enough to do a Dark Side of the Ring episode on. Maybe consider a different career path besides booking. I mean, let's be honest here. Is my booking really that much worse than what we're getting on TV from week to week? I mean, cut me some slack. Linkmaster says no yeet. Yeah, no yeet. No yeet in the main event. Venom Katetsu says Be the Booker, not as bad as the Wyatt and Gangrel night. Yeah, at least Gangrel wasn't watching us tonight. That's good. Dry Chicken says Tony Storm against Sonya Deville, Booker T and Vic Joseph on commentary. Death Scythe. Yeah, that would probably be on WWE radio. Death Scythe says, it gets better than after reviving Inoki, Hogan had to secretly flee Japan to hide from the Yakuza. Says, yeah, I smell bullshit, bro. Where did he say this? In his book? His book is in the fiction section of the bookstore. Retro KOH, Tom McGee versus Jenna Maraska in a mixed match would be better than this. Tom McGee and Jenna Maraska, they're going to end up hooking up. It's going to be the couple that we all never expected and didn't know we needed. Tom McGee and Jenna Maraska, they become happily ever after, right? Super Pony says, what is your preferred finish for Punk and KO? Kevin Owens wins the WWE Championship. That's my preferred finish. Package pile driver 1, 2, 3. Since when said Clyde? Why did I say Clyde? Since when said cycle? My eyeballs. I think that said Clyde. Google Granda RN in AAA and video. Insane physique. Granda RN? What the hell? Ace Italiano, when what Dark Side of the Ring episodes on Alberto Del Rio and Patrick Clark? I think both of those would also be good subjects. Linkmaster, Dark Side of the Ring, Jay Uso. And Dried Chicken, Bret Hart against Hogan. Loser has to buy beer for the boy. I'm telling you, man, thank God we got that match at the end. At least we saved it there a little bit at the end. RN as in right now. Google Granda right now. There's someone named Granda in AAA. Granda AAA. What the fuck? What is this? What? Is this a real... Oh my God. Who is this? Wait, there's more than one, because Lucha Wiki says Granda 2. There's more than one? This doesn't look... He's wearing a bodysuit, dude. That's not real. That's like a bodysuit that he's wearing. It's got to be. Yeah, that's a body. That's like... That's got to be a bodysuit. Yeah, I've never heard of this person, but that physique is wild. Anyway, yes, you have to go ahead and Google it. You'll see what I'm talking about. Thank you guys for hanging out with me here on a Friday night. I will be back with you on YouTube on Monday for the Raw post show, as I will be for Dynamite on Wednesday and a big SmackDown next week. They're going to be in Toronto. We got the WWE Championship on the line. Before that, we have episode 976 of The Sound Off coming up on Sunday, including my Dark Side of the Ring recap on Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff. Super Pony, Jey Uso equals EDP. Oh, come on now. No, EDP is slime. Do not make that comparison. That is a disgusting human being, is EDP. Hopefully he'll get what's coming to him soon enough. Anyway, be well, stay safe, have yourselves a great weekend wherever you may be. Hit that like button, leave a comment on the video underneath, get the discourse going, and I will see you for the Sound Off on Sunday, and then back here on Monday night, live on YouTube for the Raw post show. Brian, you are very welcome. Thank you for the stream tonight. Until then, take care, guys.